Welcome back to another episode of Fresh Thoughts from the Hearts. Today we are joined by a bit of a beauty, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah, this guy we've been watching on social media for a little while now, and it's nice to see someone kind of call out people for their bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's nice when you can find education online. It's another thing when you're constantly being consumed by education that has no benefits to you, or it makes you start to think very negatively about other things.
Hmm.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Today, we're joined by a gentleman who has been in the nutrition and fitness industry, what it seems like for most of his life, by the looks of it. And we're going to dive into kind of his take on fitness and nutrition, his life outside of social media, and what this change in his social media presence has done for him over the years, or over the last year or so that he's started to get some extreme growth. Today, we're joined by Sam Vaughan. I hope I'm saying your last name right. At least that's how we pronounce it. But I appreciate you joining us today. We're super excited to chat with you about everything you've done so far. So um, let's dive into it.
Thank you so much. I think that's the best intro I've ever had. Thank you.
Wow, that's flattering. I really appreciate that. I just wanted to let you know firsthand is the reason why we did want to interview you. Obviously, we interviewed Emmeline, and
Hmm.
over the social media crossovers, we've gotten to see you both for quite a while now. The nice thing about your social media presence is exactly what we said there is you don't you don't beat around the bush. Like you're not here trying to just be someone you aren't or just try and say the things that make people want to click on you or constantly watch you. You pull in other people's videos and you rip them apart. I just watched the one with a plate of donuts versus a nutrition drink or whatever it was, like a green beverage,
Hmm.
breaking down the negatives to sugar. So that's kind of how we became really intrigued of your profile. And it seemed like over the last year or so, other people have seen the same thing.
Mm. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. One of the things that bugs me the most on social media, especially with fitness and health and everything else, is people being misled. I hate people being misled. I get that everybody has different opinions, but unfortunately, there are things that are just being misleading and
Yeah.
false information, and it drives me nuts. Drives me
Oh,
nuts.
yeah, it's very frustrating. And you know what? I've been the person that tried keto. I've been the
Hmm.
person that I've never been naive enough to think that there's a magic pill to lose weight. And I do find it very frustrating now with getting more information and education in nutrition and fitness. I'm definitely not a pro, but the
Mm.
fact that it's the way you and Emmeline explain it and simplify it into you need to be in a calorie deficit. It seems like something so simple that everyone should have known all along is you need to burn more than you consume. Seems straightforward.
Hmm.
It still seems like something that I was like dumb to. As weird as that, as ridiculous as that sounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Hmm.
it's nice to like have a page to go to, especially when you're starting out, kind of like us. You don't have a ton of knowledge on it, ton of background on it, to have a page that you trust, that you know it's not bullshit. They can call out the other pages that are just, like you said, misleading and don't have the education behind it to be even trying to help and teach people.
Yeah. Where did this start for you? I know this like based on your page. I didn't scroll all the way down to like when you were Slim Shady, when you had like when you looked super young. So you've obviously been doing this for a hot minute. When did this all start for you?
Yeah, I would have taken you quite a while to scroll down to the end, especially those early years.
Huh.
But yeah, so I've been coaching for a decade now. This was like my 10th year of coaching. I started when I was 18,
Wow.
28
Good
now.
for you. Wow.
Yeah, and it's been a road. Like I think like everybody in my situation, you start off as like a on the ground, or as they say in the trenches PT, where
Yeah.
you're in a gym, you're talking to people, and you're just being like, I can help you with your goals. Like, let me help you. And you finish your PT course thinking that you've got a world of knowledge, and then about a month in, you go, oh, I know nothing. Okay, I've actually got to continue learning and figure this out because you don't get taught much about nutrition. The PT courses now, because Emmeline just recently finished hers, and I looked at it and I was like, oh wow, we didn't cover any of this. Like, because I did mine 10 years ago, so they've had a decade to update this whole sort of curriculum,
which is nice to see that they're actually doing that,
Hmm.
which is good. I
right?
mean, don't this is it's it might be paradoxical for me to say because obviously I passed my course when the bar was extremely low.
Okay.
But I still think that the bar is and the regulation around it is probably too low
Yeah.
this stage. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
100%.
I can
Because you
agree with
do.
that.
Hmm.
You've got people who are passing their level three and then are giving out, as I say, misleading advice. And unfortunately, I it on the cusp of it, like people think that, oh, they're trying to help. Like, give them a break. They're trying to help.
No.
It's fine. Like, some of their information is correct and what they're saying. But the way I see it, and this isn't my quote by any means, I think James Smith might have said this, which is when people go to the wrong place for the wrong advice, they get misled and then they get discouraged from even trying again. And this is where you find a lot of people who have done your slimming clubs, your slimming world, your this diet. I've worked with this coach or I did this
Yep.
person's program and it didn't work for me, but it worked for hundreds of other people. So I must have done something incorrectly. It's like, no, actually, you didn't fail the diet. The diet failed you because it was the wrong, misleading information. But then it
That's
makes somebody stall their progress that they could make.
Yeah, and that's very well said. And I don't know if it doesn't need to be enforced as extreme, but the people that are signing up for these PT courses, which is obviously physical or personal trainer, um, those people should have kind of a regulated system of what you can and cannot put out there. Like, should it not fall under like obviously at a much smaller restriction, but to the law? Like you are like this is someone's physical well-being and health. Like they're trying to make a change, and you're trying like it just feels like anyone who goes and writes this exam can now start saying whatever the hell they want online. And yes, they have their PT certification, but what is that? What is that back? Like it makes everyone else who's actually fought to get it that has a real goal in mind seem less valuable or less like what am I trying to think of here? The word just like less of a crap
I don't know what word
less
you're
of
looking
like
for.
a like they don't take your word the same way like
Yeah,
they puts you in the same category as other people that are giving bullshit knowledge so it just dumbs down the entire PT.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is something that I have. I go into every so when with people that I work with, we usually jump on a call like before we start working together because I want to get to know them. They
Hmm.
want to get to know me. Gives us a chance to actually create a relationship, and then also I can figure out if I actually want to work with them or not because
Yeah.
I can
That's
tell a lot
fair.
from a call.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons I do it is because when it comes to coaches and PTs and stuff like that, there's a lot of mistrust out there. Pretty
Yeah.
much everybody I've worked with this year has said, "Yeah, I worked with a coach before." Sometimes they tell me what coach, but I've worked with a coach before. They did this, they did that, and there's endless stories of people running away with money,
Yep.
just basically giving a basic plan and then being like, well, if you can't stick to it, you're just not disciplined enough. You need to, come back to
That's
me when
rough.
you're disciplined enough. Yeah, exactly. So it is frustrating, but I feel like when I get people on calls, it's at least from what they've said, they go, oh, this is actually really different from what I've had from other coaches. So yeah, I trust you and I'm excited to work with you. So it is
Yeah.
quite nice.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it's difficult to get them to the call, but obviously very rewarding once they're on it, or maybe it's getting a little easier. But if we go back to where you started at being
Yes.
18, how
Yeah.
hard was it at that time to get people to listen to you at your age?
So hard. So
Yeah,
incredibly hard. So I was 18 when I passed my qualification. I applied to every gym in my local area and every gym said the same thing. Go
you're
get
too
you some
young.
experience, come back. Go get some experience, come back. I had one gym in mind that I really wanted to work for called David Lloyd. It's like a bit more of like a higher end leisure sort of facility here in the UK. They do tennis and it's basically like what
Oh,
you'd
nice.
think as like a country club maybe.
Hmm.
And yeah, again, one of the places. So I basically got a job on the bar, which is like they would serve beer and coffee and all that throughout the day and food. So they have like a restaurant. So I got a job on the bar and learned who was who. Spoke to a lot of the PTs, spoke to the gym manager, and after about 3 months of working there, I then eventually plucked up the courage to say like, "Hey, have you got any jobs going in the gym?" And she said, I mean, when are you doing your level 3? And I was like, I did it last year. And she said, get in the gym.
Oh,
Let's
nice.
go. And then
Sweet.
that's kind of how I managed to get my first PT job.
And how many times did you struggle with the clients themselves having an issue with your age?
I think it was always the initial sort of, so when you are a coach, when you're a PT, essentially, the only way to get clients is to talk to people. Just get to know people. And people are in the gym for a reason. They want to achieve a goal. They're like, I want to lose weight, I want to get stronger, I'm getting ready for a wedding, whatever it is. And you just get to know them. And I got really lucky where when I started, I was mentored by another coach from the States called Jordan Syatt,
Okay.
known as Syatt Fitness on Instagram. And he basically drilled into me that just provide value, just provide value and be a decent person. And just don't try and trick people into trying to working with you, because it's like trying to trick somebody into a relationship. It's just not going to work, not going to last, and it's gross. So
It's
just
fair.
provide value, and then eventually people will go, this person kind of knows what they're talking about. Maybe I should pay them and get the full deal. And that's
Mhm.
eventually what kind of started happening, is people were like, oh, you actually know your stuff. And I'd be like, you could say that.
And I think it seems like, obviously people get deeper into their life of like, being in their 30s or being in their 40s, like maybe even in their 50s, maybe in their 60s when they finally decide to, I still want to change. I still want to lose weight. I still want to get into shape. I still want to be healthier and live longer. And I don't agree with someone shutting down you because of your age at 18 or 19 or 20 or even 25. Maybe someone's like, I'm going to listen to a 25-year-old tell me how to change my life. It's like, you've lived the last 3 decades like a sack of potatoes. I don't know. You haven't figured it out yourself. I've been doing this. Like now I'm assuming what, 28,
Yeah, 28 now.
28, doing this for a decade. I don't think
Mhm.
that age should really have anything. What do you think? Like it shouldn't affect it.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, with a decade of experience, regardless of what the career is, I think you've earned your spot as a coach a long time ago. So good for you for that.
I'm going to quote you there.
Yeah,
I'm going to quote you
nice.
there.
After this, like, where did you go from here? Like, now you're at the club. Now you got me interested in the whole story of how long were you grinding after this gym throughout the years
Hmm.
before you wanted to change to online?
So I actually was at right at the beginning of this year, about March this year, where I took my business completely and fully online.
Okay.
But up until then, I'd probably been doing a good sort of 8 years solid of in-person coaching. Um, and there's loads of different ways you can do this as a coach, as a PT. So I started off as at this leisure center. Now the leisure center didn't charge me any rent, but I worked. I think starting I worked about 30 hours, and then you gain clients on top of that. So then you might end up doing sort of like 40 to 50 hours a week, and then they slowly take away your gym sort of hours, and then you obviously build that up with more PT hours.
Hmm.
Um, and eventually it got to the point where I was actually doing about 50 to 60 hours a week at this place. I was doing some gym, I was doing some sort of duty management role and doing my PTs, and I couldn't
Wow.
I couldn't keep going. I ended up again sort of duty managing another gym whilst also doing PT. And then I think about 5 to 6 years in, I went, I'm going to go completely freelance PT. I don't want to clean people's sweat off of treadmills anymore. I don't want to like do the
Yeah.
counting, the cashing up at the end to make sure
Yeah.
we've taken enough at the gym. I'm done. I want to just coach people.
Like,
And
good
then
for
went
you.
from there. Yeah.
How long have you been trying to get online? Like, online's obviously not, we all
Mm,
know. Like, we're clearly trying to grow this podcast into being something that
mm,
it grows, people share it, people want to enjoy it, sponsors, you know what I mean? Like, we want
mm.
to grow it, obviously. How
Yeah.
long did you push before it became obviously, if March you've been able to fully transfer to online, how long did it take to get to that?
So I was probably like what we'd call like a hybrid. So I was doing about 30% of my coaching in person, and then about 70, 80% kind of like in and around that was online.
Okay.
Um, and I won't lie, like the social media had a big influence on that. it's going to. It's in the same way like your social media will have a big influence on the podcast.
Exactly.
And I have, let's put it this way, I would say social media has the biggest impact on it. And I've been posting on social media for 8 years solidly now. So that's how long I've been posting content on Instagram. Short form content, it was not good back in the day. I won't lie. It wasn't easy to watch. I wasn't good in front of the camera. I couldn't talk, couldn't string a sentence together very well. And the
Well, good
topics
for
as
you.
well. Yeah, I'd go way too deep on certain topics. I tried YouTube, and it was just finding something that kind of worked. And I think sticking to the basics, because I think, as you said earlier, you said like being sort of 18, 19, me and Emmeline, we're lucky enough now that we're actually kind of, we know quite a few of these younger lads that are getting into online coaching, and they're absolutely smashing it. If I was creating content like they were doing at their age, who knows where I'd be now. So I'm really excited to see what they do, because they know what they're talking about. They get their point across really well, and they're doing it in a really good way of trying to help people. So it's I've
Well,
completely forgotten your original question.
no, that's all right. You answered it. It was essentially like, how many years did you grind before you got to being able to do it off? But it's seeming like 7-ish years of, not maybe all those 7 years grinding as hard as you can to be
Mm,
permanently online, but
mm,
posting fairly consistently online.
yeah.
Trust me, I've watched the first videos of me starting to podcast, and I sound ridiculous. Like the views are awful, the setup is awful, the lighting is trash, like the voiceovers were terrible, but everyone starts somewhere. Like
Mm,
anyone who's successful right now, I would love to see their first stuff. Like no one ever sees it because it's never going to be good enough to show anyone. It takes a long time to get there, and I admire the grind from you
mm,
to go that many years, especially at your age. Like, and I'm not one to. It seems like the older generation does shit on the younger generation, at least where we are, where the generations of, not wanting to work as hard and not wanting to do as much. And it's just essentially our generation now has like grown up with so much social media and so much opportunity online that like you expect me to go lug around bricks for 40 hours a week when I can make more money doing this. Like it's ridiculous. And you've shown
mm.
clearly what your generation is able to do.
Mhm.
I couldn't be a coach. I can barely go to the gym 3 times a week. I ain't training nobody. I could barely train myself. Now, how do you deal with? Do you get a lot more men being a man?
It's an odd one. So I think before everything kind of blew up in like the last sort of like year and a half,
Hmm.
on social media, it was definitely more female. Um,
Really?
I would say my client base is more female, um, but my actual following was also, it was like 75, 80% female, and then the rest was male. But now it's like a somewhat even split, about 50-50. But most of the people that actually work with me are female. Yeah.
Were they there for the blonde hair and the abs, or were you having a lot of people reach out looking for training?
Yeah, that you saw like the bleach blonde hair. You went
Yeah. Oh
pretty
yeah, I
far
like
back,
it.
so that's pretty good back. You went back at least 4 years back, which is good. But yeah, I mean, maybe one or two of them were there for the blonde hair and the abs. Who
Nice.
knows? But I
Nice.
mean,
Yeah.
that bleach blonde hair was not the one.
Yeah.
But I tend to find that when it comes to, women are more inclined to reach out for help and to go, hey, this person clearly has a little bit more knowledge on what it is I want to achieve. So I'm going to reach out and ask for help, or ask for, to pay them to teach me what I need to know. And especially when it comes to fitness, I think guys are generally more inclined to go, I'm going to figure this out.
Do you
That's
think
what I
I'm
did, at
stubborn?
least.
Yes.
Now, what would you ask? Would you reach out to a man to help you?
Mm, I'm on the more shyer side, so I probably would have looked for a woman.
Really?
Yeah,
So him and Emmeline are both right there. You're choosing Emmeline?
probably.
That's so rude.
But
Um,
I mean, that's quite normal as well. Like
Yeah.
I say like women are more inclined to reach out for help regardless. Where like, yeah, guys in general, they're more likely to, the furthest they'll go is they'll sign up for an app that gives them a workout, and they'll be like, sick,
Mm-hmm.
I got that.
yeah, yeah, I don't do that. I had like for a long time a fairly unhealthy relationship with food and working out. Like I
Mhm.
felt like if I didn't do it 5 days a week for 1 hour a day and I didn't fully cut out all the like I was on a big like I'm gonna eat rice, broccoli, and chicken ever and peppers or vegetables for the rest of my life, or I'm just gonna be fat forever, is kind of where
Mhm.
my mindset was. And what I liked about the video with the donuts and the drink that I saw is I have a shit relationship with sugar,
Okay.
right?
Not just sugar, junk food in general.
But like when we're at a grocery store, we find something that we like, and maybe we've seen it online. There's a lot of these like found this at Costco, these boneless chicken bites or these pancakes, high protein pancakes, and all this stuff. And I'm big on like I show up and I'm like, there's 10 grams of sugar per piece, and I'm like, I'm out. Like I'm a big like no go on sugar for some reason, and it's just I don't know it any better. I'm like sugar's not good. The world's push sugar's bad.
You're getting better. You were just overly restrictive to the point where you hated your life and then you fall way off the deep end.
So Emmeline did this to me. Okay.
Mhm.
Emmeline has changed me a little bit. Okay, so we did a full month of um Whole Foods from Monday to Thursday. Monday to Thursday, all we ate was Whole Foods. There was no cheating, there was no changing it. We ate Whole Foods.
Mhm.
On Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'd go out with friends, we'd go out for dinner, we'd have a date night, we'd have our like our splurge.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'd go back to doing that. Then, like, we lost a bunch of weight. Like, she lost like 17 pounds. I lost like 17 pounds. Like, we were feeling good. It seemed very doable for us.
Hmm.
But then it felt really shitty the nights that we wanted to go out with friends, and we did. And we're like, we were supposed to eat Whole Foods. Now it feels like you're trying to bounce back. And it was through yours and Emmeline's pages where we noticed that, like, you probably knew this. I didn't. I was like, oh, we fucked up yesterday. Now we have to make up for 2 days. And you're trying to like constantly be in that fixing the fuck up. And we sat down and did a podcast with her weeks ago or a month ago. And since then, I've started to like, I'll have like a little baby Kit Kat and I'll have like a little thing here, a little thing there. And I've had my days where I did too much of the, make your day balanced because it sure as hell
Mhm.
wasn't by the end. But
Yeah.
I don't even know where I'm going now. I have a shit
Okay.
relationship with food. I did. I think I still do.
It's getting better. You still have
Mm.
a hard time with like you call things bad, like, oh, this is bad. I shouldn't eat this. This is bad. Because Emmeline called you on that too. She's like, does food have morals? Why
Yeah.
is it bad? What makes it
Mm.
bad?
How did you start to have that relationship with food? I'm assuming when you started off in this journey, you started off with fitness. It seems like an easier, immediate route, less alternatives to, lifting weights,
Mm.
learning that. But when did you get into the fitness or the nutrition side of things?
So my initial start was I'm 18. I want to be a bodybuilder. I want to be jacked. I want all the girls to go ooh down my abs, and yeah, that's what you want.
Nice.
So then it ended up just being like, okay, I need to eat more because I was like kind of like skinny fat. I didn't have a lot of muscle on me, but I had like a nice little sort of pear tire around my waist, which was great. And yeah, it just turned into eat loads of protein, eat rice. Um, I think I was boiling chicken breasts at one point. It was absolutely outrageous behavior. Um, but but then it kind of developed. I got a lot better. Started just generally eating food, but I did go through quite even throughout the 10-year period that I've been being a coach. I have had my times of feeling guilty with food, eating certain things, and binge eating as well. Like I
Okay.
went through all of that. So like very similar things to your that you're talking about of being great Monday to Friday, and then Saturday I'd have my big training session, but I'd finish it off with 3, 4 McDonald's double cheeseburgers and then a banana milkshake just to sweeten the deal. But then
Damn,
I
that sounds
started
good.
then I then started slipping into kind of low carb, and I actually functioned quite well on that. It didn't bother me. I really like fatty foods and meat and everything else. But then that slipped into ketogenic, and I actually did the carnivore diet for quite a while. Um, Not because I thought it was necessarily superior. But I like experimenting on myself. So I was
Yep.
like, I'm gonna see that. I'm gonna do the carnivore diet for 30 days. The same way I was like, I'll do keto for 30 days and see what happens. So I was like, all right, I'm keto. I might as well go carnivore. Let's see what happens. I ended up doing it for 8 months straight.
Wow.
Uh, but that was kind of the really big change that I saw, and how relationship with food has a massive sort of part to play in any of this being sustainable. So the first 6 months was an absolute breeze. I felt good. I was training, like it was okay. Like I was pretty well built for that diet. But then I started missing my vegetables. I started missing my fruit. I started missing my oats, my bread, like any types of things. Like not even like crazy stuff like chocolate and candy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was just your basic food that you would probably pair with any normal diet.
Yeah.
And then I realized, even though I shouldn't, and I knew the knowledge and the education around it, I was like, I'm actually kind of scared about eating this fruit. I'm a bit anxious about it
Huh.
because I've been doing this for so long, and then it's gonna, and it was almost like this false information, like, oh, there's sugar in the fruit, so then my body isn't gonna be in ketosis or something, which we call gluconeogenesis, which is where your body creates its own glucose.
Hmm.
My body won't be doing that, which throws me out a bit, and then I feel bad and guilty, and then I've got to get back on track with my carnivore and fast again, and then the people around me who were also doing the carnivore diet, I saw them binge eating tubs of Ben and Jerry's ice cream, and I just literally stopped one day and I went, "This is really bad. This isn't healthy at all. What have I become?" And then I think from that point, I then just started to reintroduce these foods very slowly, and and then eventually I was like, oh, what the hell was I worried about? And then I did more research into the psychology of food and how much it affects. And yeah, this dichotomous thinking of food, so black and white, good and bad, um, is where a lot of it really truly stems from. Which is,
Hmm.
again, it's why I hate these absolutes when it comes to people talk going, you shouldn't eat these foods if you're trying to lose body fat. And I'm like, why? What is inherently fattening about an ice cream or a slice of cake? Nothing's inherently fattening about it. It's just more calorie dense and less nutritionally valuable. That's all it is.
I
So
think
I'm not gonna
that's, oh,
go on,
sorry. I
go
think
for
that's
it.
such a good thing as a coach that you've tried the fad diets, you've gone through them, because then you have that insight to help the clients that I'm sure most people, when they go for coaching, have tried these diets. They've tried all the fads. They've gone through all those same thought processes. So it must be nice for them to hear that, like, you've also done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even actually go too crazy into the fact that I've done it before. Um, I think I don't know if Emmeline touched on this much, but when we sort of look at coaching, we try to do it in the fact that it's less about, there's a preconceived notion that with coaching, I'm the professional, I know what I'm talking about, so just listen to me and I'll tell you what to do. When a lot of what coaching about is making people, almost, at least in my perspective, is I make people see common sense. And sometimes I fill in the gaps where they need a bit of knowledge and a bit more information. So, but I'll just ask them the questions, of like, well, what makes the carbohydrate bad? What makes that chocolate bar bad? And they'll go, well, there's sugar in it. And I'll be like, okay, well, we've spoken about sugar. What's bad about sugar? And they'll go, oh, well, nothing too much. Only if you have a lot all the time. And I'm like, are you having a lot all the time? And they'll go, no, it's a chocolate bar. And I go, oh, it's a chocolate bar, so it's not too bad. And it fits in your calories. And they'll go, yeah, of course it fits in my calories. And I'll go, hmm. And they'll go, oh.
That's
I love
awesome.
the moments of like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, it definitely makes it worth it. And then also I like that you went into the carnivore thing. Is I tried it for 48 hours. I tried for 48 hours once. What the hell is that supposed to do? I was like, I'm gonna do this. And I ate like chicken, and you eat eggs, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Carnivore? And
yeah, yeah.
avocado?
Not avocado. I
No,
was very,
I think that's a Rogan thing.
yeah, I was
Anyway,
strict carnivore, meat, eggs, and beef.
yeah, so I think I did it for like 48 hours and I felt good. I can't remember what I was having headaches. I was in a car accident years ago. No need to
Okay.
go into that whole thing again, but I've dealt with like headaches and back pains and all this issues that stop me and slow me down from working out and doing stuff as
Mm.
stupid over the top as I would, but which is probably for a good thing.
Might not be
But
bad.
I did the carnivore thing for 48 hours and started to like lose my headaches. 48 hours is such a stupid trial period. But anyway, back to you doing it. It's nice that you got to the emotional side of it. Like not just I'm going to purposely do this for a month so that when someone brings up the fact that they did it, I can touch on the things that I found that were beneficial and not beneficial. It
Mhm.
was I'm going to dive into this, did it for 8 months, and then started to emotionally see the feeling bad about fruit and being
Mhm.
scared to eat it. And
The damage of it.
yeah, and then coming to the realization that like maybe this isn't a sustainable way to stay healthy or fit. Do
Mhm.
you do you believe in any I don't know if I want to say fad because obviously no one believes in like a fad diet, but do you think that there's certain body styles or people that would benefit from any of those styles of like ketogenic or carnivore or at least like a dabble into it throughout there? Like, do you ever
Mm.
find people that would benefit from that?
Mm. So I'm not I'm by no means an expert in this. I mean, so when
Okay.
it comes to my experience with the carnivore diet is one thing it did help with initially, which is probably why I did it for so long, is I was actually struggling with like some gut health issues. So like basically I was like running for the toilet
Yeah.
often.
Yeah. Been
And
there
that's
for
when I
sure.
yeah, that's when I realized that there are actually quite a lot of foods that didn't really work very well for me. Um, but then again, I
Hmm.
started to reintroduce it. So in my books, as a uneducated gut health specialist, person, the carnivore diet is a fantastic elimination diet, which means that you basically eliminate any and all foods apart from meat, essentially. And then you can reintroduce foods and learn what your body tolerates and what it doesn't. Great elimination diet, but outside of that, it's not something people should be doing long term. When it comes to certain diets that work for certain people, we I think there is some studies and there is some information out there where we can look at our ancestrage and our genetics and how certain genetics are a little bit more tailored to others. So I don't think you're supposed to call them Eskimos anymore, Inuit
Yeah.
heritage, people with Inuit heritage. I think
Yeah.
that's the right word. Obviously, their ancestors
Yeah.
basically ate blubber, just ate fat,
Mhm.
and they lived very healthy lives. Now, you'll probably find that if you did some very stringent tests on these people, again, I'm by no means a professional here.
Oh man, I don't know shit. I give opinions on everything,
Yeah,
so just go ahead.
that you will find that they probably metabolize saturated fat and fat in their diet much better than somebody in our situation. So, me being from the UK, I'm Scottish, Welsh, and English heritage, a little bit of Finnish in there, meat,
Boo.
root vegetables, that type of thing. You go to India, and it's very much more of a vegetarian based diet, so less meat and this, that, and the other. So, there's definitely ways that we could say, depending on your genetics and heritage from where you're from, there may be differences in diet.
Do you not think that it's a little bit fucking outrageous that this is not a bigger topic in the world? Like, just for the aspect of we could be sitting at a bar having a beer, talking
Mm-hmm.
about fitness and nutrition, and both dive into things and opinions on like, obviously everyone's different. Okay. The way that my body might process a carbohydrate or a protein could be and most likely is different than yours.
Mm-hmm.
We're worried about all this other. Obviously, it all comes down to money. We could go into a conspiracy theorist fucking podcast here about this crap, but it seems like two people can have a beer and think about these things and make it make sense. Yet it's not a talked about thing publicly or pushed in any. You live in Great Britain. We live in Canada. Have friends from
Mm-hmm.
the United States, and it's not like it's a one person is. You guys are probably doing it a little better than us based on ingredients and what you guys allow in your foods compared to us. But at the same time, like we're three separate countries all doing the same thing, and we're not
Mm-hmm.
focusing on the actual whole. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, I would say that the whole genetic side of it is something that we could definitely take into consideration, but I think that's like me worrying about the type of towel that I'm using during my workout when I'm not even concentrating on how frequently I'm going to the gym. Like, then this is why, like, one of the reasons why we talk about being in a calorie deficit or at least energy management so much, because it is the underlying principle. So
Fair. That's fair.
the way I explain it to people is we're focusing on tracking calories. So
Yeah.
using an app and scanning a barcode and going, how many calories am I eating? Because it puts you in bed with the method of managing your weight. So there's no bias. There's no you can't eat this, you can't have carbs, you only eat at this time or anything like that. Looking at your calories and your energy intake literally just puts you straight in bed with the premise of how I'm going to manage my weight, either lose weight or gain weight. Where if we start looking at all the little, well, my genetics say that I should be eating boiled eggs instead of fried eggs, and I should be eating whale blubber instead of pork. Yeah, it's too nuanced. Where if we a lot basically the majority of people out there, and is literally the base of mine, Emmeline's content, is let's master the basics. Then we can figure out all the little nuanced things along the way.
It's well said.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. As much as you could sit there and dive into all these different options, it comes down to the basics of you need to burn more than you consume, regardless of what it is that your body can consume or break down the best. You're not here trying to fix the gut. You're trying to get the start point of weight.
Yeah, and the thing is that being said, I actually had somebody start working with me at the beginning of this year, and her main issue was like, I need to fix my gut health.
Okay.
And it was for a friend of a friend. And I said, look, I am by no means like a gut specialist here, at all. But I've done some stuff and this worked for me. Do you want to give it a go for a month or two? And if that doesn't work, then please go seek a professional. So again, we kind of did an elimination diet. She wrote down a list of things that she knew exactly what worked for her. I wrote down my opinion on basically eat lots of meat. Um, we're not going to focus on tracking calories. It sounds gross, but we're going to focus on how many bowel movements you have a week, when you get bloated, and because you're keeping a food diary, what you think might have caused that, your sleep and your hydration, and just these sorts of things. And now she she's gone from maybe one bowel movement a week to five bowel movements a week. So normal bowel movements a lot across the hall.
Doesn't that sound
Um,
cool?
no
Wow.
bloating, which is fantastic. So no bloating at all. So she don't get me wrong, she avoids foods that she knows causes it, but now she's got a diet full of food that she really enjoys and doesn't set her off. So
Could you
that
imagine
is a bit
that?
more of a nuanced approach.
Okay. This woman here needs help. Okay, come on. You have to explain it. The bowel thing is hard. I have my issues. Don't get me wrong. I know that if I'm going to go crush a pound of wings and two beers, that there's a good chance that the bathroom later ain't fun for anyone. But you have your issues where you think you found it that it was dairy. Then you had no
Yeah.
issue eating yogurt. You have no issue eating non-pasteurized cheese,
Yeah.
which her family makes. So we have non-processed cheese. You
Amazing.
have no issues with that. So maybe it's something that's built into those things. Like,
Yeah. I think I've like somewhat narrowed down, like didn't do a full elimination diet, like going just meat, but
Mhm.
kind of took out some things and then slowly brought them back. And I think I might be just more sensitive to like processed foods and all the preservatives and junk they add into them, because when we started doing more like just whole foods throughout the week and just like little treats kind of here and there, way better.
Yeah.
Like hardly having any issues.
Mhm.
What? Why are you
so
smirking?
what's the issue now?
I haven't been eating as good.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear you say it in front
Okay.
of our friend here. Okay. We've been having a shitty couple weeks. And
Well, there's a lot going on. We had a wedding, so we didn't eat well at the wedding because they had a Krispy Kreme cake.
oh, yeah. Do you have Krispy Kreme there?
Yeah, we have Krispy Kreme. I love Krispy Kreme donuts.
Oh,
Oh, my sister did like her whole wedding cake was just a tower of donuts.
Oh yeah.
And then moving, we're kind of busy packing, so we haven't been cooking as
This
well.
this is the negative side of me.
I know it's
This
excuses.
is bullshit. Okay. I live in this like, we ain't doing this. We're moving. It hasn't changed anything. We can still go for walks. We still have weights. We still have things that we can do. We have stuff that we can accomplish. I'm not saying that in a week or, we have 2 weeks to move, pack an entire fucking house.
Mm.
Get it. It's a lot. Okay. I get it. But that shit is our priority.
Yeah.
I don't want to die at 35.
Oh, I don't want you to either.
Well, would you like my opinion?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Always.
So if you were a client I was working with, like obviously, as you said, like you're in a high stress situation right now. You've got weddings, you're moving your entire house, everything else. So you're not going to be moving house for the next 6 months. It's going to happen and then it will pass. So what you've got to look at is how well you are going to get back on the wagon, as they say. But how quickly can you dial back in? And that's actually a skill in itself. So when I work with people, I basically say, like, look, there are parameters we're going to try and hit, but you are 100% going to fuck up. 100% you are going to at some point and many times. And I want you to fuck up really hard and really fast
Oh, I
because,
got that.
yeah, because
I can do that.
because the thing is, it's an opportunity to learn. It doesn't mean people say that you learn from your fuck ups, but you only learn from your fuck ups if you choose to
Correct
learn
them.
from your fuck ups.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's a skill to learn getting back on track. So now I can have a weekend where I can go freaking crazy, but when I choose to get back on track, quote unquote, I have no guilt. I'm just like, because I know how to get straight back on what I was doing before, and I'm absolutely fine. Now, you were talking about, this is our responsibility. It's bullshit. So and
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
What I would try and focus on in this current time period is controlling the controllables. So you're probably pressed for time. You're packing. There's so much going on. But as you said, we can still go on for walks. We don't have time to go to the gym or do a workout or do this, but I can definitely go for a walk. Or I can do something where instead of taking the car or whatever, I'm walking instead. So it's controlling the controllables. It's you might be too stressed to track your food, but you can go, there's a portion of protein and veg in this meal, which is great. And instead of me having two of these candy bars, I'm just gonna have one of these candy bars. Controlling the controllables. So it's not perfect. So the way I say this again is I say it as it's a dial. I call it the dial method. When you guys aren't moving and there's no stress in life and you're going to the gym and you're eating and tracking or doing whatever you do with your food, you're dialed in at 99%. You're on it. Great. But now you're moving and life is stressful and everything else. You just got to dial it back down to like maybe 75, 70% here. So
Mm-hmm.
we're not going like this and going, well, we're moving and life is hectic. So fuck it, let's go to zero and just switch it off like a light switch. Like we're either on or off. Again, it comes down to that dichotomous thinking of good or bad, on or off.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we just dial it back a bit. So we do what we can, but we appreciate that it's not perfect. But we're not going to beat ourselves up and call ourselves assholes because we're not doing it amazingly.
Isn't that exactly why we liked him and Emmeline?
Mm-hmm.
Like it was the same thing. Like we watched her fuck it bucket and
Yes.
and like little things like just like we talked about my mornings and my mornings before I started losing weight, I was like 220, was like an iced coffee, a muffin, and a bagel with butter. And I'd ask for it with extra butter because who needs kidneys?
Yeah,
Um,
love butter.
Oh, I love butter. And it was just like she broke it down. She's like, like the first way to start there would be like cut out the bagel or cut out the muffin or get your coffee made with um,
Milk instead
milk
of
instead of cream
cream.
and try and push back the sugar and just slowly start moving yourself towards shrinking it. And excuse me, it's something like in the moment you don't think about it. You're like, I'm already fucking up. I'm just fucking up. You don't think I can actually lower this and not frame it a fuck up. Like lower this and instead of I lived in this always trying to make up for it. I think it has to do with quitting smoking. As crazy as this is about to sound.
Yeah.
I tried to quit smoking for so many years, like a
Hmm.
decade, like every single like month or so, I'd try again and try again and try again and try again. And I lived in this streak mentality where if I was
Hmm.
on my streak, it was hard to break it. The second I broke it, we're done. We're wide open, full bore, buy a pack, war chain smoking, let's drink beers. That's where I was. Okay. And I'm a year. I'm over a full year.
It's
My
more than
sister
that.
of like actually a zero inhale of a cigarette or cigar or anything. Hillary's wedding last year, my sister's wedding last year. So full first, whoa, first full calendar year of no cigarettes. But I had that same negative thought process with food
Hmm.
where if I wasn't consistent with what I ate and what I did and I broke my streak, oh, we're wide open. We're having a bunch of beers this weekend. Let's go get some chicken wings. You want McDonald's? I want McDonald's. Let's get McFlurries. Anyone want a milkshake? Like that's where I was at.
Yeah.
And it's the way that you guys have both framed it that make it
Teaching the balance.
Yeah.
and knowing that you're not fucked. Your week isn't screwed up. Your month isn't over. Your weight loss isn't ruined. You don't have to restart. Like it's just you clicked pause for 20
Mhm.
minutes and you took a bathroom break and let's click play and get back into things.
And it's always remembering that you are, and this might sound cliche, but you are quite literally always one step away, one bite away, one meal away from being back on track again.
Yeah,
I like
that's
Always.
that.
true.
It's a
Like
good thought to keep.
you demolish a donut. Okay, cool. You're one step away from being back on track again. Maybe let's just have a look at the next meal that you're going to have. Maybe change that up a bit. Even if it's an
Mm.
entire day where you quote unquote fuck up, because they're going to happen at some point. Um,
Oh yeah,
how
they
you know?
happen.
Yeah, they
It's
happen.
life.
Like
You have to live it.
I wanted to ask, do you call yourself a smoker? Are you a smoker now?
No.
Cool. Change of identity. That's what that is.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I like it. Like it's something
Yeah.
that in the moment when I was smoking, I didn't realize how gross it was. I didn't realize how much it affected other people around me with how I smelt and how I brought that into other people's lives. And it's something now where I'm like, you
Mm,
gross.
mm.
But you smell it on people now and you're like, ugh,
That's rough. You used to deal with that shit?
yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is one of the big things is when it comes to change, when it comes to action habit change, this is what we call it. The big one of the biggest part to that those actions sticking, those new actions. I like saying actions rather than habits, because actions are something you still have to think about. Um, those new actions really only stick when there's a change in identity, a change in perception.
Okay.
You're either a
Well put.
smoker or you're not. So like I'm a person that smokes, but I'm trying to quit right now. Or it's like, oh no, I'm not a smoker.
Fair enough. It's true.
Hmm.
That's
You know,
well said. I'm pretty
I'm a
sure
person who diets regularly and tries to diet. Da, 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 da. Or it's like, no, I'm just living a healthier lifestyle, trying to make this a part of who I am now.
that was a nice change. Well brought up. Like
Mm.
I feel like throughout our process of trying to lose weight and trying to eat better, I've rotated from like people suck sometimes. When you're trying to explain to people that my biggest thing at the beginning was waking up at 5 a.m. Now I've been waking up at 5 a.m. for months. Like I get more accomplished in the morning. I get my day started in the morning. It was very important to me. But explain that to other people, it was just kind of like, what are you doing at 5 a.m.? Like, who cares? But like, it's the same thing when we were talking about like wanting to eat whole foods, or like people would like giggle or laugh at us, or like, that's not sustainable, or that's not going to last, or that's not going to work. Everyone has their fucking opinion. It's like, you're still fat. Why are you even giving your opinion to me? Like, you're not trying at all. We're at least trying to do something. And now we've done something for long enough and we've lost enough weight. Now people message us and they're like, hey, we're having a hard time losing weight. And it's the same people that used to give us their fucking stupid opinions we didn't ask for.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're like, hey, like, what did you guys do? Like, we needed to make a change. Like, we're looking to do something. It's like, this is what worked for us. But just like, we kept referring to you and Emmeline as like, burn more than you eat. Stop eating so much.
Mm-hmm.
Get active. Start moving. Go for a little walk. Do something little. As you don't need to be a professional coach to understand that just from following you in Emmeline of like,
Mm-hmm.
just move your feet and eat less
So
or what you eat.
Yeah, so this is one of the things, and it's so funny because there are a few key things in my life that I can attribute the exact same thing for. So, fat loss or changing your health, whether it's gaining muscle, gaining strength, or fat loss, my social media presence, or even my business where it is now. Like, I didn't quit. I kept putting in effort and energy
Mm-hmm.
and made it a part of my life. So I have people who are like, dude, why are you making these videos and putting them on Instagram? Like you're from this small town in the south of the UK. Like nobody, what are you doing? Like I go to the gym too, but I don't talk about it online. And then it's the same thing with people when it comes to their fat loss. They're like, oh, why don't you try this? Why are you doing it that way? Da 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 da. So on and so forth. When you find what works actually works, so the information, then you make it work for you, and then keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Stay consistent. Like again, consistency trumps occasional good consistency trumps being perfect anytime, occasionally.
Very true. And like, let's get out of the fitness and nutrition aspect of this is amazing. It's exactly why we brought you on and why we've
Mm.
been following your page. But we want to know, Sam, outside of this,
Uh-huh.
like, what is your go-to stuff outside of fitness, nutrition, social media?
In terms of like life, what
What are
makes
your
me happy?
hobbies? What
Hobbies.
did I say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hobbies.
Should we pull that sound clip and put it on a okay. What are your hobbies outside of fitness and nutrition? Obviously, you're not doing this 100 times a day. What's Sam's pleasure activity? I don't like that one.
I'm gonna sound like a 70-year-old man. I mean, I like playing the guitar. Um,
Well, that's
I'm
good.
a complete novice acoustic. I just, strum. It's almost like a meditative thing for me. I love spending time with my friends. Like my friends are like my extended family.
Yeah.
I was like very independent from a young age. So like yeah, I've kind of got like this groups of friends and I just be like, let's go do stuff. So we'll
Oh,
climb a mountain and go camping or something like that.
oh, you can choose your friends. You can't choose family.
Mm-hmm.
We've always said that.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of friends I'd way rather hang out with than family. Actually,
Mm.
most of them.
Yeah.
Sorry, family.
Mm.
But
But
I
yeah,
get
sorry, go on.
no, no, go ahead. I was done.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm quite just kind of to myself. Apart from being with my friends, I'll watch movies. I love escaping into movies and escaping into series and some books. Like, give me Marvel, Lord of the Rings, like
Nice.
anything like that. Yeah, love
We've had our
escaping
moments
into
where
it.
we get that sit down and we binge the Transformers series or
Mm-hmm.
Marvel series or whatever it may be. We just watched Harry Potter for the first time like 4 or 5 months ago.
It was like last year.
Oh,
Mm.
maybe a year ago. It's still late. We were still late to the Harry
Yeah.
Potter
Yeah.
party. Have you watched Harry
Yeah.
Potter?
Oh, I grew up on that. I grew up on it.
Oh,
It's,
yeah, we did not.
No.
Yeah, it took a long time for us to get there.
it's
Um,
really great. Sorry if you don't mind me asking, how old are you guys?
we're both 29.
29. Okay, yeah. So you're just a year ahead of me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean in the UK, obviously Harry Potter was like golden boy from day one. They were like, look,
Oh, true.
Oh,
British
yeah.
hero.
Fair enough. That does that up.
That does.
Yeah.
We're just ignorant fucking Americans.
No,
We're
but
Canadian.
We all fall under the same umbrella of everyone
No, we
else.
don't.
I wouldn't call a Canadian an American.
Oh, I like that. Nice.
I wouldn't do that. But in all honesty, I will probably say that at this moment in my life, my business and the whole fitness thing probably does take a little bit too much. So it probably is more on the unhealthy side of things. But I definitely have an idea of when I want it to slow down a little bit. Yeah, for sure.
I agree and disagree with you.
Mhm.
I live in a constant state of doing my side business and working and podcasting and trying to do social media stuff and stand up and we're moving. We got lots going on, but I live better in that pace. I don't know if
Mhm.
you do too, but like you're hyper focused on that stuff. I've got ADHD, like it's fairly visible, but I hyper focus on that shit and I get it done and I enjoy it and it's what brings me joy. Like people bring it up all the time, like what are your hobbies? What do you do outside of this? And like I'll golf sometimes in the summer. Um,
Yeah.
but same thing, like I'll watch a TV show every so often with you. I watch football on Sundays, the good football, not soccer.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree. I hate soccer, football. And
Oh, nice.
Ah,
yeah,
This irks. But I live in the same mindset, and I have the fear sometimes of losing it, of like finally looking at it as unhealthy
hmm,
and trying to push away from it, and then losing the
the
joy and the
drive.
growth and the drive that I have.
losing your spark.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
even know if it's here yet. I'm still trying to light the flame. We're figuring it out. It's day
Yeah.
by day, but I get where you're coming from. Do you have any questions about women's fitness before I completely ditch the fitness?
No, I don't think so.
No?
No.
All right. Eat your broccoli, carrots, rice, chicken. Eat less, burn more. Um,
Pizza.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like pizza too. We should get pizza. Sam told us to.
Yeah, that's
He's-
right.
what do you have any major goals related to the fitness? Like obviously growth with anyone's business is a
Mm.
big goal, but you had talked about originally like bodybuilding, being jacked, having girls rub your abs. Still a goal? Like do you want to do
No,
bodybuilding or
no,
world's strongest man?
no. I learned a long time ago that nobody gives a fuck if you have abs. And if they do, then they're probably a 12-year-old girl. Like no one
Accurate.
cares. Um,
Dad bod season, baby.
yeah, just thick thighs, just thick thighs. That's all you need, and you're grand. I would say fitness wise, when it comes to business, the biggest part behind it is impact, is having an impact. Um, yes, of course, it's like to be comfortable and live a lifestyle that I'm really happy with, of course, but um, I think one of the things is to. I think you guys probably have heard of a guy called Gary V.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Gary
I was
Vaynerchuk.
talking to him about yesterday.
Yeah, this impact, this legacy has had on so many people. I mean, it's probably one of the reasons why I'm still here doing my own thing. I mean, I wouldn't. People have said over the last year or so, like, "Oh, yeah, so you're an entrepreneur," and I'm like, "Why? Maybe, I don't know." But he kind of started that whole movement of like, do your own thing, do what you want to do. Um, and there's a lot of people out there that respect him for that because he's inspired a lot of people. And I think when it comes to the fitness arena, I would like to leave that kind of impact of inspiring people, and giving them the right information that not all hope is lost. Because I think within the fitness industry, there is kind of a lot of all hope is lost. And I'm like, actually, in reality, it's literally just like it's at your fingertips.
Yeah. No, I like that. I
Hmm.
think you and Emmeline could start your own business of coaching coaches, like of showing people the social media side of things. And maybe that's already a thought in your guys' head. We think that there should be Sam-Align. We think that you guys are pretty much destined to be together forever. And you know?
Well, I thought I'd use this podcast to actually just announce my undying love for. No, I'm joking. We're bros.
Yes.
We're bros.
I know. She
We
said the same thing. I tried to bug
yeah,
her with it too.
we're absolute bros. I mean, the funniest thing is I know that this person won't hear this, but um, like Emmeline, mine and Emmeline's friendship is one of the big reasons why my last relationship completely collapsed because it just was not okay how much of like a bro relationship me and Emmeline had. So it's just quite funny. And even to this
That's
day, we're just like, and look at this, we're still bros.
it's nice. One of my best friends growing up was a girl, and still chat with her.
Yeah.
It's a bigger issue if the person you're with can't handle that. It's like, do you not trust
I was just gonna say
me?
that speaks more to them than you, anyways.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. You should be able to have friends that are a different gender. That's brutal.
Hmm.
mm, yeah. But no,
So
it is good.
soon.
Sibling energy.
Yeah, we see that with you guys. You guys have great cadence online. It's very enjoyable to watch. We just seen your where like they run away and you
Oh, the suspect thing.
yeah
Yeah, that was
suspect.
funny.
Yeah. We should do
We
that.
should.
It'd be
We
so
should.
fucking ruthless. We'd be too mean. It'd
Probably.
get shut down.
Yeah.
Um, I just want to let everyone know if you haven't listened to Sam before, his social media is Sam Vept, SAMVEEPT. Is it Vept?
I just kind of announced it as Sam VPT. So like you said it, my surname is Vaughan, but so many people don't know how to pronounce it. Vaughan, they'd say born, and I'd be like, no,
I
Vaughan.
pronounced it right.
Yeah. So
Wow.
you pronounced
Good
it
job.
correctly, but
I
so
was
many
a
people didn't.
goalie. and that's the name of the pads that I wore.
Okay. Yeah.
Goalie pads here
It
at Vaughan.
Oh,
apparently it's a quite recognized name, but still people don't pronounce it. So this was actually in my era of watching Gary V. So I went, you know what? Nobody can say my surname. I'm just going to call myself Sam V. PT.
Sam VPT. I said Sam Vept.
yeah.
Veeped.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
You were
I hear it
close. You
all the
had the
time.
last name
I
right,
might
but
edit
not
that
the.
one. No, just kidding. Find him on social media at SAMVEEPT. Check his stuff out. Go deep. Find the blonde hair. See how this man became the man he is today. And go back through his stuff. Like it is funny. It's entertaining. He did a video that was the first one that we really saw was eating McDonald's for like a month, like a cheeseburger or
Yes.
something a day, and showing how you can still be in a calorie deficit and still lose weight. So don't think that you need to cancel out the stuff in your life that you truly do enjoy to be able to also reach your goals. You can experience with moderation. Seems like something that's pretty fun. I fucked it up a couple times this week, but we're still rolling. We're still losing weight.
Exactly.
I'm about to crack 200.
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. Sam, I appreciate you joining us today and taking an hour out of your time. I know you guys have a big, busy schedule, a lot of stuff going on. So, from me and my wife here, thank you for taking the time to chat with us.
No, thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it.
If someone
It's been a
wanted to reach
blast.
out to you for coaching or at least to book a call with you, where do they reach you?
So on my Instagram profile, samveept.com, you know, there is
Or
a
Vept?
link there, Vept, Sam Vipt. There is a link in my bio which goes to my application form. But by all means, check out all of the free stuff that's on there first, just to make sure you actually like me.
There. There's a reason to do it right there. The coach that doesn't say, go click here, I'll change your life, we'll give you a pill, you only have to eat 1,900 things a day and everything's going to change. He tells you to look at his stuff first, which is nice to have someone that's genuine and authentic. And you'll notice it first thing when you go through his profile pages. He's here to simplify things for you. So if you're sitting there right now listening to this podcast, feeling overweight or feeling shitty or feeling like there's no way to change, take a step. Reach out to
I
someone like a coach like Sam or like Emmeline. Preferably Sam.
appreciate that. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I really
Last
appreciate
episode, I
it.
think we said Emmeline. So, but I appreciate your time today. You got anything else you want to say?
No, I think you got it.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much. We enjoyed chatting with you, and your episode will release in a couple weeks.
Thank you so much. It's been a blast.